Okay.
We live.
All right, we live. Okay. Okay. All right, we good. We good now. I figured it out. All right. Let me get this. Okay. All right, everybody. How y'all feeling today? It's Coach Reg, aka Mr. Intensity, and my job is to invoke thought and help awaken the world's consciousness, one person at a time. I know that person will be you. Now, we're here interviewing my financial guy that I've been talking about for a little while now. His name is Curtis May, and I found him about I think about 3 months ago. One of my guys hit me up that I talk about finances with, and he said, "Yo, you gotta talk to this guy. He teaches finances. He's really going to put you on. But before you talk to him, you got to read this book. But first, you got to listen to his podcast." So, me already, starting my journey and everything, I started to listen to the podcast, and it kind of blew my mind in the same way when I first learned about nutrition. It blew my mind because it was something that I knew I needed to learn, and not the way they teach you like everybody else seems to know. I'm talking about what they don't teach or what everybody else going to talk about. So this is Curtis May. He has put me on. He's helped me save a lot of money, helped me invest a lot of money for now and for the future. And it's a little bit differently than I know a lot of y'all have heard of, which is why I feel like I should bring him on, because, I'm everything but orthodox. So right. He goes right with it. So welcome to Team Intensity Fitness United, Curtis. Welcome. Introduce yourself. Tell them who you are.
Yeah, Team Intensity. Well, listen, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to, to go there because we feel we let you in on the talk that we have all the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is every day.
So let me start out. My nickname is the Contrarian. So all the stuff that I always start with this. If what you thought was true about money turned out not to be true, when would be a good time to find that out? And so that's kind of what we do. So long story short, I've been in financial services actually since, I hate to say it, 1985, since college, when I realized, the NBA was not looking for 5'11" shooting guards.
I realized that too, not too long ago.
Right. Guards are a dime a dozen. And but I was blessed that, my family had always been self-employed. So I was always looking for entrepreneurial things. My grandfather was self-employed. My dad was self-employed. And I've always heard from the time I was 7, you never make any money, work for somebody else. So I never really got that go to school, get your education, get a good job talk. My dad said never make any money, work for somebody else. So I thought you majored in business to go into business. And, somebody introduced me to the financial world. I had gotten my insurance license in college, and I got my investment licenses a couple of years after that. And, I was with a company, if I name it, you'd know who it was, but I specialized in buy-term investor difference. So I was evangelical about mutual funds, max out your 401k, all of that stuff y'all heard about, snooze your arm and pay your house off early. Let me tell you. So we have a saying, is don't tell a lady her baby's ugly. But I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to break it to you. It doesn't work, or it doesn't work like they say it works. You know what I mean? And so I started to discover that, and I read a little book. On our show, the Practical Wealth Show, I interview a lot of people, and one of the things that is a common thread in what I talk about. All of them read this little purple book at some point. That at some point they basically took the red pill, so to speak. If you're to reference the Matrix, and which was Rich Dad Poor Dad, and. Mm-hmm. Rich Dad Poor Dad, I was like, wait, what he's talking about and what I'm doing are not the same thing. And I started to, being the money nerd that I am, I couldn't reconcile that. So, I'm curious. I go into information mode, and on one of his early tapes, I heard this woman, Kim Butler, And she started blowing my mind. That kind of took me down the path that I'm on now, what we call prosperity economics. So I basically teach the opposite of, so there's two schools of thought, if you want me to go here. I feel like I skipped over my story, but now I'm rambling. I'm freestyling.
No, you're good. You're getting right into the point where everybody's.
So, so what happens is there's two schools of thought. So I get a little hyped now because it pisses me off because I found this out late, so I'm annoyed. So there's two schools of thought when it comes to personal finance. There is what I call, what you hear from the financial entertainers, okay, that if I name them, the Susies, the Daves, the David Boss, that kind of stuff. And it's not wrong. You just have to decide, do you want to be rich, poor, or middle class, okay? Because there's different strategies. So in the personal finance world, for the masses, because who buys mutual funds? Who advertises on CNBC? So you gotta, and so what they teach is buy and hold, dollar cost average, get out of debt, buy term, invest the difference, right? And so, but there's another side of that. So if you took a corporate finance course, they don't teach none of that stuff.
Nope,
okay?
None of it.
They don't teach none of that stuff. See, they teach cash flow.
Right.
They teach you to buy and hold, hope the damn market goes up. Okay. Last time I checked, hope is not a good strategy, right? Because what can you control about a market going up or down? Right? Not a damn thing. And see, so that is not investing. See, Warren Buffett mentor, Benjamin Graham, defines an investment as something that you put your money into where your principal is safe and you have a reasonable opportunity to make a profit. He says anything other than that is speculation. So now if you hold that definition up to what most people are trained, because see, most people don't get financial education, they get financial training. The training basically says, give your money to us. Is that right?
That's right.
So what happens is you're taught to buy and hold, but they preach cash flow. They buy assets that you want to buy assets that send you a check today, right? They teach velocity of money. So what's velocity of money? So you've seen Shark Tank.
Yep, I've seen it.
Right. So think about this. So you got to listen to the language. So Mr. Wonderful, what is one of the things he says? He says, hey, if I give you this $50 or $100, $200,000, how soon do I get my money back? Right. And so now he puts it there. He gets his money back. Is the thing he put it in still throwing off cash flow? Yeah. So, right. So he gets it back and then he puts it into another thing and then he gets it back. And he puts, see, that's called velocity. You have to create velocity. Money's got to move. How many times can you make your money turn? If you put money into a house, if you're a real estate investor, what do you want to do? You want to cash, refinance, get your money back out of the house and go put it in another deal. That's creating velocity. So you got to keep, that's why we have currency. It's got to move. So that's cash flow. That's velocity of money. That's leverage. This is number 3. Leverage means, see, we are trying to get out of debt, but guys, there's good debt and bad debt, right? So if you got $100,000 of cash and $100,000 in debt, are you in debt? That's a question. I want you to answer that. I want you to think about that. I want to see if you're learning. Okay.
Oh, you're testing me while we're live?
Yes, I am. So
if you got $100,000 in cash, you're even.
Yes, you have debt, but you're not in debt.
Yeah.
See, a corporation will look at that as a balance sheet neutral decision, right? Because see, I would argue if you wrote a check to pay the debt off, are you in a better situation or worse?
Well, I mean, from what I think that you're in a worse situation.
Because you don't have any money.
Yeah. You're
right?
broke
So
now.
you got a 30-year, $100,000 loan. Your payment is what, $600? So you're going to take your $100,000 cash money and give your money to the bank.
That's right.
To get rid of a $600 payment. So now you're broke.
Yeah.
Be debt free. You don't want to be debt free. You want to be financially free.
Yeah.
Okay? Which means you got passive income greater than your expenses.
And that's what they teach us. They teach us that, just pay your debt off, pay this. Like, this is why I do my credit program to show them they got to pay that off. But, like all they tell you to do is you pay your debt off, but after you pay your debt off, most of you are in a negative or broke. but you still, you don't have no debt, but you don't have no money.
You don't have any money. And see, you have money. And so that's the thing. So because, my wife is an attorney, she does a real estate, right? So there are people that have houses free and clear that still lose their house because if you have money, you can't pay the tax, you still got to eat it. You've got all of these things that still need to happen and you don't have any money. So you focus on control. You want liquidity, use, and control of your capital. So it's kind of like you have to say, all right, like with a house, you always tell people, look, just think about this. What's good for the bank is bad for you. Okay.
Yeah. This is a big one you taught me right here because now I look at commercials and I look at TV as different now because when they're advertising, I'm like, they're not telling us something because they're advertising it. So now I look at their, like you changed my mindset with that because I used to look at it and like even emails that come to me, I'm like, well, why are they asking me to keep a balance in my account? Yeah, probably because they want to lend my money out now. But now my mind changed to that.
Yeah.
People don't really
because when you put money in the bank, you're a creditor to the bank. So you're loaning money to them. Right? Because they don't loan out their money. They're loaning out your money.
Crazy.
You're a creditor. So if the bank fails, you're a creditor to the bank, right? You're and so see, because it's like the matrix. People really don't understand how money works. So my passion is really through education, teaching people the truth, because you've got to my goal is to, and so the last one is to finish that first thought is that they, we teach you to rent term insurance, but banks put billions of dollars in permanent life insurance. That's where they store their cash. And so there's just
so slow down real quick with that one. Okay. Just so y'all people didn't understand what he just said, I want you to say that again, because that's a major statement he just said. Say that one more time.
So what happens is, you're taught to and there's nothing wrong with term insurance. You should have lots of term insurance because most people are underinsured. But where banks store their cash, the money that what they call their tier one capital, the money they don't loan out, where they put that money? They buy a whole life insurance, dividend paying whole life insurance. And that's where they store their cash. And think about this. They don't, when you want to guarantee something happens, you know who you give it to? The manager, you give it to the insurance industry. Okay. And so what happens is those strategies work in personal finance. See, where do you store your tier one capital? Things that we, I probably went there too soon, but, it's kind of like the opposite because, I always tell people this ain't that deep. 2 + 2 is 4, right? And so I believe that you are your best financial advisor. I'm really the guide. You know what I mean? It's your money. So when we first met, I said, look, there's 3 levels or 3 parts of good stewardship of money. You got to, which you're good at before you met me. You got to keep money and you have to grow money.
That's right.
And it's really that simple. And most people, a lot of people don't know how to really make it, and a lot, if you're in business, that's marketing and sales and that kind of stuff, but you got to keep it because it's not what you earn, is what you keep.
What you keep. That's right.
It's what you keep and how hard it works for you. Right. And so you got to save it. Why are you saving? So most people say, oh, I want to invest. No, you need to save money, right? Because you got to save from income and invest from assets. You got to start from a position of security, because people say, oh, I got $200 a month. Should I get Robinhood or should I get, put money, dollar cost average to a mutual fund? What the hell are you going to do with $200? You don't have 6 months of cash set aside. I know people that worked at, during the government shutdown. What happened to people?
They were done.
In like 3 weeks.
Yep.
So most people are too illiquid. You got money, you got $100,000 in a 401k that you can't get to without jumping through a bunch of hoops. And so you need more liquidity, money that you can use, because if you have money, opportunities will find you.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
You always calling me trying to give me money all the time.
Yeah. And see, so they'll find you and you can be the bank. I got people that loan money to other people and charge them 8, 10, 12% because they have cash. and or they, loan me people money for real estate deals. I'd rather be the bank than own the property, honestly. I don't want toilets, termites, or tenants, even though we have some, but it's like, I like the banker's position anyway. And don't call me because of toilet. I'm the bank, just give me my, I'm not trying to hear it. So, so that's kind of the background is really, I'm a financial educator, and I've discovered stuff about, economics and how things work. And, our mission is to really get people, I want people to think. I don't want to tell them what to think. It's your money. I always tell people, what I say all the time, it's your money. It ain't Curtis's money.
That's right.
It'd be more important to me than it is to you. So you've got homework. I want you to read a book a month on money. Why? Because it's your money. And see, so most people don't have a money problem. They have as Jim Rohn, I got this from Jim Rohn, they have a philosophy problem, right? And so when you think about it, there's only 4 things you can do with $1: spend it, save it, invest it, or give it away. But the order in which you think about that forms your philosophy. So if you get paid and you think, well, I got to pay my bills, that's spend it. Or I got to buy myself something nice, that's spend it. So we have, unfortunately, as sometimes the people, we're a nation of consumers. And then as soon as we get it, we spend it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and we're always focused on income, but income is not wealth. Income is great, but if your income stops, ask a lot of NBA players, then what happens? Because they're not building wealth. They're not buying assets that generate passive income over and above their expenses, but you've got to save. And then when you have savings, what can you do with your savings? You can save your savings, you can consume your savings, you can invest your savings, and you can lend your savings or any combination thereof. But it starts with savings, the verb savings. I don't mean put in a bank account, but what I'm talking about is paying yourself first, getting used to paying, 10, 20, 30% of your income. And you've got, it's right. One of my favorite books that I have, Mark Landry, is The Richest Man in Babylon. And the first chapter in the book is
great book.
All you earn is yours to keep, And so what we talk about, I'm part of something called the prosperity economics movement. Folks, money is old, and there are principles to this stuff, so it's not about modern portfolio theory. It's not about, the 401ks are only around since 1979.
Wow.
They're new. Okay.
I don't know how many of y'all knew that, but that's real.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm all over the place. So ask me a question,
So basically, the whole thing, I'm gonna piggyback off what you said about The Richest Man in Babylon, because even in that book, The Richest Man in Babylon said that you got to at least save 10% of what you make.
Right.
If you do that, you'll have money when you're an old man. Now I listen to Grant Cardone, and he said save 40%.
40%.
Now, I don't know.
I saw that, right? And I sent you, I saw it, says, oh, I knew I got to forward this to.
Exactly. You sent it to me, and I was at the point at the time I was saving 20% of it. But before I even met you, I wasn't saving anything. I was just taking my money and just reinvesting it back into my business. But my savings account was on zero. My bank account was looking good, but that money was just for my business. So I actually didn't have any money.
Right.
I'm like, and then when you had me look at it, I was like, damn, I've been just focused on building so much that I really didn't think about saving for the future. And that's pathetic, but that's where the mindset is, even as somebody who's making money, because I've only been.
The business will eat as much money as you give it. So
exactly.
Is there to serve you. So you've got to take your profits off the top.
Yeah.
Do other things
with
that money. But, money's not always up, or you have, excuse the expression, shit happens. So you need to have money. For stuff that's, businesses go up and the opportunities come up. You get stuff on the cheap to get inventory to, and you need to have money to take advantage of that. So you've got to be more liquid, 3 months, 6 months of cash. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's just, whatever that you can start with, you've got to start. And that's really what I teach people. One of the things I kind of teach the opposite, because most people think that the key to building wealth is to find better investments, pay a higher rate of return. You know, so it's all about chasing returns. And people think that you're supposed to take more risk. I want some high risk growth funds because I need to, you know, everybody's trying to hit a home run, right? Yeah. And so there is actually more opportunity in minimizing the losses in your life than there's trying to pick winning investments, you know? And what I mean by that is, so most wealth is lost, number one, in how people manage cash flow. So there's like leaks in what I call people's money bucket, right? And so they don't manage cash flows. They don't know where the hell their money's going. So we really focus on teaching people how to have awareness of the money that's coming in and out of their life. First step is awareness. And then we teach people that, you know, there's transfers, wealth transfers. There's three types of money. There's accumulating money. That's the money you got saved. Mm-hmm. There's lifestyle money. That's the money you use to run your lifestyle. And there's what we call wealth transfers. So most in the typical financial world, if you meet a typical advisor, they're like, Reg, how much you got? Well, we can do better. Why don't you move that money over here to us? And so when you're getting that type of advice, who's the only person whose money's at risk?
Mine.
Yours, right? Everybody's guaranteed to make money but you, okay? And so the other money is lifestyle. So that's like, well, you can't go on vacation, you bag a lunch, you know, you can't go to Starbucks and you know, grow your own food and live in a sackcloth and, you know, whatever. Now I'm exaggerating a little bit, right? But, you know, who's trying to hear that? You know, nobody's trying to cut lifestyle, but you don't have to. Sometimes I go there if you're doing something really crazy, but most of the times I'm not the party pooper. See, I want you to go on vacation. I want you to live your best life, right? To quote the song. And so the key is transfer. So there's like 20, but the top 5 wealth transfers are how you pay your mortgage, taxes, how you fund your retirement plans, how you pay for college, kids' education, and how you buy big ticket items, cars, vacations. You know, a big ticket item is anything you can't pay for out of cash flow. So most people lose more money in those 5 things than you'll ever make trying to pick winning investments. So we say, look, if you got a bucket and it has leaks in it, doesn't make sense to plug the holes first. That's right. We call focusing on efficiency. You want to be efficient with your money. And, most people are, they overpay their taxes. You know, you're sending in extra payments on your mortgage. You're doing bi-weeklies. All that's a complete waste of money. So, and which if you go, I have a YouTube, I have a video on that. So don't beat me up on saying that. But you got to do your homework. You got to understand the perspective of why I say that. Because if you pay extra on the mortgage in the house, what's the rate of return on equity in the house? 0. And it's liquid. You got to qualify to get it back out. What if you pay down the house, got hurt, got disabled? Are you able to qualify for a loan? If you have no income or your income is dropped? No. So if you had money and had 100 grand cash or 50 grand cash, you're in a much better situation to have all the equity trapped in the house. You know,
that book that I read, Profit First, I think you told me about it. You did. Yes, you told me about this book. Now, this book was great because it's going to show you how you can be even more efficient by paying yourself first.
Yeah.
And I like the mindset behind it, because then if you're a business or you're somebody, you really find out how much you have. So subconsciously, it actually makes you make more money because you're always even broker than what you are, because you're putting this extra money over, not extra money, but this saved money. This is mine. I'm not touching it. This is where it goes. Oh, shoot. This is how much I have. Now it's going to make even more of a hustler.
Yes. Listen, I've been doing Profit First, just to back up. That's by Mike McAllowitz.
Yeah.
All my business owners, clients, like you've been around me with 3 months. How many books have I given you?
A lot of books. Right. You sent me this care package. I was like, oh, man.
Right. So Profit First is kind of like pay yourself first for business owners. So if you're in business, that is a great book. And so in typical in business, is that business accounting says, what is it? Revenue minus expenses equals profit, right? And so what Mike McAlowich is teaching, no. The business is there to serve you. You got to take your profit first. So
right.
revenue comes in,
I wasn't doing that.
The 15% off the top into account. I've nicknamed profit from the door. Then I like 15%. I have a tax account. Boom, off the top. Then we have a owner's pay account. So I try to pay myself 40%. I have payroll for that, and then I run the business on the 35% that's left. And 10% that the marketing. So I try to, so my VA, the office, all the little subscriptions I have, I run it on that. And so what you do, and then the profit first, I haven't done the quarterly distributions like he does, but I use that to fund my banking system and for savings. So I take it right off the top.
Gotcha.
So it's just a way for you. So you have to have a system of cash flow management. The book he had y'all get, my favorite book, Becoming Your Own Banker, it's just a system of flow management. Look how book my, so
that book got some work.
I had it laminated, right? So this is my,
I don't even look close to that, but you had that for a lot longer. So
right. So I do book inspections. So if your book ain't written, I was like, you ain't read this damn book. Give me that, So,
oh man,
I'm a little alive. I'm a little hyped, but that seriously, I know we're going all over the place, guys. But that's the thing is just you gotta take control of your finances. So, kind of our message is to stop giving your money away and save it, right? And so, one of the things that we focus on first is to find money through your wealth transfers that you're losing unknowingly and unnecessary. So a lot of times in Works Together, I've helped people save anywhere from as low as $300 a month as much as $3,000 just by restructuring their stuff with you on the same money they're already spending.
So when somebody first meets you, they pretty much, because when I first met you, you gave me these sheets where you can actually see how much money you're actually spending in certain areas. And doing this, you help me see, okay, I actually have more, or I'm putting more in places that shouldn't be. I can minimize this expense. I can, this is the things he's showing you.
And that's why I have you do it, because it's your money, right? Yeah. So you need to be aware. So I'm doing it with you, but it's as much an exercise for you as it is for me.
Yeah. And I think that's a good tool because it helps the person. Like normally people are geared to just say, here, take it, do it for me, do it for me. But in this way, you make the person accountable for their own money and take control of it for themselves.
Yeah.
Because people are so used to hiring somebody, letting them do it all for them. I mean, it's not taxes. It's something, this is your money. You're already going to put out, you're going to bring in. So I think that's a good tool to have because it helped me really sit down and actually do the work. I'm like, oh, shit, I got homework and stuff. You gave me homework.
Taxes. You know what I mean? Like you should keep, it's your job to keep good records, right? So that you can, get the deductions that you're supposed to have. You should understand the system. There's two tax codes, right? It's one for wage earners, one for business people. And you need to become knowledgeable so you can challenge, not in a good way, like ask better questions. Because your tax preparer is not going to volunteer stuff, and you need to, you gotta take control of your financial life. That's kind of my message. I always tell people when I do workshops, I say, listen, when I get done, you're gonna have more questions than you have answers, which is a good thing because that means you're starting to think as opposed to waiting for somebody to tell you what to think. And that's my goal, is to get you to think, to get a new idea, to ask questions and, ask for some questions. I got the answers. I ain't worried about it. You know what I mean? And, but I want you to think. See, I like people reading a book a month, because if you read a book a month and we do a review next year, our discussions are better because more.
Yeah.
Questions.
Yeah.
And that's fun. To me, that's fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, that's a great thing. You know,
Yeah.
okay, so let's talk about, okay. So let's talk about what you really got me on. It's another business. I am now my own banker, the whole life insurance. Let's talk about because everybody's talking about investing in having 401ks, you got IRAs. What makes this method different than the traditional method that you always hear about from the banker that's in TD Bank or something like that?
Yeah. So banking. So let's talk about banking. So banking is just creating a pool of capital that you control. Sorry, my 7-year-old is calling me. I don't know if y'all can hear that in the background. I almost need to answer.
Yeah, you good.
It's creating a pool of money that you control that can move at cost to meet some needs you have. So banking is just representative of storage. You have food banks, you've got blood banks, so it's just storage. And so what happens is we give control of that to other people, right? And so when you get paid, it's going into somebody's bank and they make a little piece of the action of every transaction that you do. And what happens is 35 on average cent of every dollar that comes into what we call your personal economy leaves in the form of debt to others. And so, what if you could just get that money back? You don't even need to invest, And so, what we teach people is to take control of that function. And so banking is a process. It's not about a process. So it's not even really about, we talk about using, so this is where into the stuff. So I'll give you something so people can get more information on this, but it's really not about life insurance. It's really about a process of thinking and having a place to store cash, right? And so one of the questions that we ask people is, where do you store your cash? Okay. And so it happens is the best place to store cash. And so there's so much, I don't have time to get into it tonight, but maybe we do, is specially designed dividend paying whole life insurance. Okay. Now, let me show you how deep this is, because saying this, I was an evangelical about buy term investor difference. I was in a company that specialized in that, right?
I know that company.
Been there, done that. And in Philly, a lot of leaders that do that, I train them. Okay. So I've forgotten more about buy term investor difference than most people know. Hey, I'm crazy. No, I'm not that high arrogant. But I'm very passionate about this because it's wrong. It's not even either or, because you still need term insurance. But what happens is, where do you store your money? I mean, wouldn't you like to store your money somewhere where you could put in as much as you want? It grows tax deferred. You can
talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
It's been around longer than taxes, right?
It's been longer in the United States.
Yeah. Which means that, so talk about the taxes real quick. So what
happens is, it's not a creature of the tax code. The tax code started in 1913. So I tell people, and we get into it in one of our workshops, where would you rather have this? Where would you rather your cash? Would you rather have it in a joint account with the Treasury Department or the IRS called a government plan or qualified plan, or in a free contract with free people in an entity that predates the IRS by 150 years? I'm just saying, right? And so I'm not saying you shouldn't put money in qualified plans, but if you put in $10,000 a year and they only match you to 4, I only let my clients put in 4, and there's other places you can put that money where you can get tax-free growth, like a Roth, but what we're talking about actually works better than a Roth. Okay. And, and so one of the keys is just understanding money works. So one of the things that we show, in fact, maybe I'll do a quick share, is that you've got to be able to, let me just show this here. There's 3 types of people in the world, right? And so there it is. Okay. I'm going to do a quick share here. Hopefully this works, but y'all can see this. All right, so this is what we call the zero line. Can you see this?
I can see it.
Right, and so there's three types of people in the world. So there's the debtor, there's the saver, and the wealth creator, right? So the debtor, if you don't have any money and you got a big ticket item, what do you have to do? If you want to buy a car, you don't have any money.
You got to take a loan out.
You got to, right? And so you take a loan out, you do what? Then you pay it back, okay? And then you take a loan out and then you pay it back. You take a loan out and pay it back, but you end up broke, right? We start out broke.
Okay.
Okay.
You might have less.
Right? And so now, but here's the other side of that. Well, what if you say, well, look, I don't want to do that. This came out of Financial Peace University, so I'm going to pay cash for everything, right? Well, here's the saver. Okay. And so what you know, so you say, see, for most people, saving is just delayed spending. Right? Save. You will get your kitchen done. What do you got to do? Take it back out. Then you got to start over. You got to take it back out. You got to start over. You got to take it back out. But you still end up broke, right? And see, so what happens is most people don't know there is a third option. And see, these are some of the things that we teach our clients that I just started to discover. It's like, oh, what do you mean there's a third option? I didn't know that. Well, what if you could be the wealth creator?
Yeah, there we go. That's the line I want to see. Yeah,
right? So what if you could put money somewhere where it always grew, but you had the ability to use your money without using your money? And so that you had, so you never broke up. See, if you've got money, let me show this real quick. So if you've got money and you say, well, all right, hold it. I've got this. You see this, right?
Yeah, I see it.
So now what happens is most people, money, here's how the world works, right? So money comes through here, your work, lifetime potential capital is your savings tank, right? So money comes through here, through the inflow pipe. That's your budget, right? So most people don't manage this. They're losing money right here, right? Then it goes through the tax filters. You got to pay Uncle Sam. And then it goes through your lifestyle regulator. So for most people, that's broken. It's stuck in an open position. So money comes in, out, down the drain. Right? I don't care. You 100 grand a year, 200 grand a year, doesn't matter what you make. It's going to lifestyle. So there's a war going on between current lifestyle and future lifestyle. Would you agree with that?
Yep.
And so that's what happens, right? So what happens is what is the first thing I asked you? I said, Reggie, do you ever have a goal of becoming financially dependent?
Yep.
So most people say yes. I'll say, well, that means a lot of things to a lot of people. What does that mean to you? And so most people give me, oh, I want to have a lot of money. Oh, I want to be debt free. That ain't financial independence. Okay. Financial independence, I want my own business. That damn sure ain't financial independence, right? It's financial independence means that you can live like you want to live from the income from your personally invested assets, right? So that's a function of cash flow. So that means if you decide you don't want or can't work, you have enough money in your two tanks to maintain your standard of living without a job. That's what you're working for, right? And so investments, we talk about the yellow tank. I'm kind of like the anti-Wall Street guy, or if you got to do that, refer it out to somebody else. But see, investing is 4 asset classes, right? There's business, real estate, paper, and commodities, right? So most people think paper, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities. But paper is, we've introduced people to where I know people at private lending. I've got a client that in this yellow tank, he's been on the podcast, he buys mortgages. You could go buy mortgages from the bank at 50, 60 cents on a dollar. And then people are behind on it. You buy it at a discount. You get You know, he's got people that call the people, get the money, you know, get them paying again. And when they start paying, guess whose money that is? His money. So he's bought the bank. He's bought the debt. The asset is the note, not the house, right?
Yep.
A lot of people don't know that you can do that kind of stuff. You know, that I've got people that do private lending. They loan money to people that do real estate. They're getting 8-10%. They get a check every month or every quarter. And then if the person defaults, they get the house because they got a note and a deed. All that's paper, right? Throwing off cash flow. And, you know, there's business. You know, if you look on the Forbes 400, most people on that list, ain't nobody on there that maxed out their 401k. What do? They build businesses and they buy real estate, right? And so that is, you know, and so does everybody have to do that? No, you've got to decide what's right for you. I just try to, you know, where I come from, I'm from, you know, Philly. There is not a lot of people talking about this stuff, you know, so I'm doing, you know, financial literacy class for ex-offenders I showed this model to last week to this young, like they're like 15, 16, like an after school program. I'm doing a 6-week financial literacy class. And I always try to show it because it's like, when I explain this, I say, well, if I can get a 15-year-old to understand it, you know, it takes, you know, the skill is in taking what people think is complicated money and how can I break it down so that they get it. Does that make sense? And that's what I'm always trying to do. And they got to hear it, you know, so they can have good conversations with their parents. They may not get all of it, but I want them to get it. But they understand, okay, because I made them go through their money. They have a summer youth program. So I went through this with them. I said, well, okay, y'all going to get paid 40 hours. I said, well, how much y'all going to get a week? So let me show you your money. It's going to come in. You've got expenses. What is that? Well, I got lunch. You got cell phone bills. You got, you know, you want Jordans or LeBrons. And then your money's going out and down the drain. So if you don't pay yourself first, that means move money up into the savings tank. When the summer ends, you'll have spent all your money and you'll be broke. That's what I told them. Does that make sense? And so think about how you all handle money, right? And see, so, or here's what when I meet them, here's what most people look like. They might have and so because that money's coming in their 401k, or they'll look like this. I have a lot of money in 401k, but they don't have no money saved. And then they have debt, credit card debt, car loan debt, and see, what is debt? Debt is using future earnings as collateral, right? So they're tying up your money. And so what happens is, so when you got a lot of debt, what does that do? You've got to use your money to pay for decisions you made 2-3 years ago. And so it affects your lifestyle because you got so much money tied up in paying the bills. So what we say is, look, when we talk about the banking system, that's just creating a pool of money that you control, that you can say, hey, I can use my savings as collateral.
This is the greatest tool that I've learned in the past in a little bit. And I wish I'd known this a little longer, but you know, when I know it. But this tool here is incredible because the whole thing, you can use your money as the collateral, but it's still actually in there. You know, right. Meanwhile, you know, I mean, and he'll get into this, y'all, but meanwhile, you know, the cash benefit rises. People always, you know, want to know about debt, not debt, but investments is, you know, well, how much, you know, investment, like how much does it increase every single year? And, well, when I put my money in a savings account, how much money is that? How much interest is that getting after a specific period of time?
Right, exactly.
And with this is, you know, like, okay, after a specific period of time, the interest is incredible, but you got to make an investment. So it's kind of like a business as well.
It is the business. I mean, everybody needs two businesses. They need the business that they do to make a living.
Yeah.
And they need to be the bank.
Yeah.
Which means that you can, because let me ask you a question. If you own the bank, would you put your money in Wells Fargo or Citizens or some other bank if you owned your own bank? Would you bank with somebody else?
No, I own my own bank. I keep all my own money.
Yeah, and so my family owned the supermarket. We ain't shop at Acme. You know what I mean? My mother didn't go to Acme and go grocery shopping. You know, we own our own store. So now what I realize now, she should have went in and paid retail for it, but that's another thing. But that's what my father would do. But so the thing is just getting an appreciation about money. So being your own banker just means that, hey, listen, I'm going to build up a pool of money that I have access to, and then we're going to use a financial institution called a company to leverage that cash value. And so what can you do with this? Whatever, you can buy real estate. We have clients that buy real estate, they buy cars. We've used it to pay for transmissions, summer camps, instead of using my savings. So if I've got savings and I've got to use up my savings, how much money do you make on the money when there's no money in the account?
Nothing.
And so most people spend their whole life doing this, putting and taking. The market's going up and down. So you got two unstable things. But what if you could use your money, but still have this money go up? And then if you bought a cash flowing asset, you let the asset pay it back down. So you got the asset you bought over here, right? Because you're using your green tank to go buy what? Business, real estate, paper, commodities like gold, silver, oil and gas, that kind of stuff. So that's true diversification. So what we do is we start out with, a much deeper explanation of this model, just so that people can see, here's your personal economy. We call it on one page. Everybody's got a personal economy. Some is bigger than others. Others is bigger than yours. But the main thing that we have in common is that we want it to grow, right? But you got to see it. And so what we do is we break down. Sometimes we're talking about, protection, so it's really, you got to save, you got to play defense, and then you got to invest. But that's the order. It's like 1, 2, 3. Everybody wants to start here because this is sexy, but you have scared money because you're hoping, a lot of people go to these real estate workshops and they want to, because they broke and they trying to hit a home run, and you don't have your fundamentals set yet, and you've got to be solid so that if something happened, it doesn't wipe you out and you got to start all over again. So most people don't really set a good foundation. We both play ball. I tell people, look, defense wins championships. So you got to start with defense. You got to manage your cash flow. You got to save money, and you've got to protect yourself from disability, from death, from lawsuits, from whatever. You got to play defense. And then you go on to offense. You might be doing some offense while you're doing it, but you need to focus on the defense. And then that way, if you've got money, you can find things over here that's not available to the regular market, because you can invest directly in stuff because you have money. You know how to read, financial literacy is the ability to read numbers. So most people don't understand accounting, don't know how to read financial statements. They don't know whether it's good or bad. They just, I heard this was great, and I'm going to, really? No. A fool and their money is soon parted. And so you have to take control of your money. So I feel like I'm rambling. So I'm going to stop sharing. But, because we do whole world.
What about something I wanted them to see? You have like a simple illustration of what it would look like if somebody were to do a whole life insurance and accumulate a cash value over, say, 40 years, basically.
Let me see if I can find one. So I really like to see, it's not about the illustration. Let me see if I can find one. Right. Let me show you if I got a better one. Wait a minute. Let me see. Because it's a lot of back work before I get to showing people numbers, but I'm going to show you an example of, hold on one second. Are people still watching this?
Yeah, they're watching this. We got 40 on here right now.
Okay. All right.
Listen, whoever drops off, drops off. Whoever stays on, stays on. At the end of the day, this is information that's going to save people's lives. Sometimes people don't have the attention span in order to save their life. Sometimes they do, or sometimes they're just busy. Either or, the ones that we helping are on the replay, and the ones who are watching right now. At the end of the day, all I know is by the time I'm 50 or 60, I don't want to be working at no Walmart or none of that nonsense. So let's just, whoever we can help is whoever we can help. That's why I came up with the saying, one person at a time, because, you know, they follow because they want to get healthy, but who wants to be a healthy broke person, you know?
Right, exactly. And see, so because it's health and wealth, they go together.
Yeah.
And because, you know, one of the things that I looked at that is that most people, I was reading an article on we had this conversation about Greenwood, Black Tulsa, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so money turned over like 35 to 70 times because of segregation. You couldn't go anywhere else, right? And so everybody says, well, we should, you know, support Black businesses, and we should, and we try to, you know, intentionally, and we do. But the thing is that you're still transferring the money well, like it's still going in and out of your personal economy. And so I was reading an article, I said, well, you should put money in Black banks. Yes, but do you own the bank? No. Okay. So you still don't have control. So what if you could put some money where you could control it? And then even if you spent it, you could recapture it and keep it spinning around in your personal economy so it would grow. How much better off would you be? See, and any household could do that. I don't care if you work at McDonald's, see, because it's a philosophy. You know, I tell people, look, and I'm gonna pull this example up, but all I do is teach chapter 2 of The Richest Man in Babylon, really, truth be told, which is, you know, really prosper economics. Part of all you earn is yours to keep. Budget thy expenses, manage cash flow, make thy gold multiply. So for your savings, find places to employ your capital. Make up your home a profitable investment. Guard thy treasure from loss, right? Don't speculate. Ensure future income, buy things that generate cash flow, and increase thy ability to earn. You know, figure out how to improve yourself. Because one of the things that we teach is, and here's the order that I discovered that I do, that I teach. Your number one asset is you, right? Yep. And so if you want to invest, what are you investing? You got to invest in your mindset, your skill set, and your network, right? That is what makes money. So, you know, I did a podcast on this where I was like, listen, you got to invest intentionally. Look at your year. It's okay, look, what books can I read? What conferences I'm going to improve my skill sets, because your income is in direct proportion to the value that you bring to the marketplace. So if you want to make more money, you've got to become more valuable to the marketplace, right? And then your number one investment is your business, right? What do you invest in your business? I was gotten on somebody about this afternoon. So you got to invest in marketing, sales, people, and systems, right? Now, step 3 is what I call the vault. So step 3 is the bank. See, where you get the money, where do you put it? That's what I'm about to show you now. That's the green tank. And then step 4 is the yellow tank. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. And so there's an order. So I focus on investing because I'm going to move the needle. So if I can, in business, you can put in $1 and make $2. Well, that's 100% return all day long, right? And so now let's look at, what if you could create a pool of capital and just finance cars? Can you see this?
Yep, I can see this.
All right. So what happens is, let's say on the left side, hopefully this makes sense. So this is actually pulled from an illustration, but this is because people say, well, why can't I just put it in the bank? Okay, well, you could. Okay, you don't need insurance to bank. You know, banking is just like if you had money in an empty Folgers coffee can, you had $1,000 in the account, you took the 1,000 out to do something, but you put $100 a month back in the can. In 12 months, how much money would you have in the can? $100. Right? That's banking right there. That's all banking is. Okay. Yep. You're storing it somewhere. what people do is they cheat themselves. They either don't put the money back, and they don't put the money back with interest because they don't think their money has a cost. But all capital has a cost. That is a major point that we teach people. You finance everything you buy. So that's another. Y'all have to get on my full webinar for that one because I feel like I'm getting bits and pieces. So I'm hoping you're like, what is this guy talking about? He's crazy. So hopefully they're not thinking that. So let's say you could save $10,000 a year. Okay. And so you had, I call this sister A and sister B. So let's say we got twin sisters or brothers, right? And sister A over here saved $10,000 and just put it in a bank account or bought a CD at 2%. So what happens is, and we're going to say you did this for 7 years and then you never put any other money in. Okay. And so in year 7, you got $74,000 with the interest. Okay. Now, sister B over here listened to this crazy guy named Curtis and put $10,000 a year into dividend paying, specially designed dividend paying whole life insurance. Okay. I said 4 very specific things, right? And so not index universal life, just for people who hear this. No, that's a no-no. All right. And all the time you get into why, all the reasons I don't like it. But what happens is this: you put in 10 in premium. Well, you almost got, and the most insurance doesn't work this way. So you can't do this with, if the person that you talk to don't like beat you over the head with this book, they don't know how to do it. That, I don't even let you do it unless you get the book. Okay. Because the system, you got to understand the system. It's not a gimmick to sell insurance. So what happens is, let's look at how money works. So now you got 58 cents of every dollar in your cash value, right? So this is the savings. So in year 7, you're still behind, right? But listen what happens. So now you pull out, you want to buy a car. So you buy a $30,000 car. So how do you get the money out of here? You've got to withdraw it out of the red line, right? So you got to take it money out. If you drain the tank, are you making any money? No. So now, but let's say you're an honest banker. So you're going to say, look, I'm going to pay myself back and I'm going to pay back $500 a month. Most people never do this. Okay. They don't have the discipline to do this, but I'm going to put it back in the account, right? So I'm going to pay back $30,000. Let me change the color here. And I'm going to pretend I have money. I'm going to pretend I'm the bank. So I'm going to take the car payment I would have had and I'm going to pay it back to myself, if you will, and put it back in a CD. So at the end of that 5 years, you got $37,000. Okay. But now let's say you took a loan against your policy. So now if you took a loan against the cash, did you take it out of the account?
No, actually you did. You took a loan you used your money as collateral.
Right. And the insurance company loans you their money. I had somebody ask me that, well, why am I paying back? I borrow my own money. No, you're not. Okay.
This is the greatest part about this.
And so here's the power. So that means it's still in there earning like 3-4%. And, now we're talking about buying a depreciating asset. I use an example. I show people who are using the same to buy real estate. Okay. And you're buying something that generates money or back into your business. I'm talking about buying a thing that is a stone cold wealth transfer and you're using the money. Now, I wouldn't let anybody do this now. But there's another thing we point out. We're not putting any money into the insurance past year 7. No other deposits. Okay. So now, but what we're going to do is we're taking a loan. We're going to pay back. We borrowed 25. We're going to pay back 30. So at the end of the first car, you haven't recouped all your money, but how much money you have there? 90 grand.
Yep.
And you use the car, right? And so your money grew. Now you haven't had any new deposit, but your money grew by 23,000. Okay. Now that's car 1. Okay. So let's go. I'm not going to go through all of them, but let's say, so car 2, and the longer you have, the more efficient it becomes. So car 2, here you withdraw the money and then you pay it back 30,000, right? So now your money grows from 83 to 94, but in your insurance policy is now worth 121 and you got a death benefit. So you're die, your family would get almost $50,000 tax-free. See, Because see, life is going to have 1 of 3 problems. You're going to live too long, you're going to die too soon, you're going to get sick and live, right? And so you have to play defense. See, what happens is GoFundMe is not a plan, okay? So don't be trifling, you know, and so insurance. I mean, if you don't have 20 times your income, you're underinsured. Okay. So just, that's why you need term insurance. So I'm not even gonna go there, but that's, you know, most people are, oh, I got 200,000 and that ain't nothing. All right. But this ain't about the insurance, right? So it's about that you finance everything you buy. Okay. And see, so now the third car, what happens? All right. So now car 3, you got 105. And in the insurance, you got 164, and your cash value grew by $43,000. You pay back 30. You stop putting money in at year 7. Okay, so when you look, so this is people say, oh, I can pay cash, I can do this. You know, no. And so what happens is, I'm not going to go through all of it, but if you look at that, by the end of the period over this same time frame, this is 37 years. The person's 62. You've got now. This is better than what most people do. So you've enjoyed 5 cars. You got $144,000 saved up. But with this, you've enjoyed your cars and you have almost 400 grand. And if you were to pass away, you still have 992,000. But the thing is, if you've got this kind of money, what else could you do with that kind of money? If you had a personal line of credit that you could access when you want to, without asking, you know, if you want to get the money, the only thing I'm going to ask you is how much you want and where you want to send it. You ain't got to fill out no, it's not, are you working, what's your credit score? And that's what I mean by creating a pool of money that you can control. You know, could you use it for college? Could you use it for a vacation? I got clients that they'll do this strategy and they will go on vacation, put it on the card to get the points. When they get back, they'll take a loan, pay the card off, and recapture the money just like this. But now they've enjoyed their vacation. So once you get the concept down, there's infinite ways to use it. So this is basically what we specialize in doing, is helping people, one, find the money to fund it. Because, you know, I was, if you could save, if you were saving, most people, if they could save 10 to 20% of their income now, they'd already be doing it. So really the work starts with finding the money to put into the green tank. But once you got it, this is the green tank. And this is a case study of the type of things that you can do. And it's not a get rich quick plan. It's not a magic pill. It's work, it's discipline, and it's, you've got to become a good money manager. That's really what it's about.
Right.
And, and that's the thing. It's just, you got to learn how to become a good money manager. And so we coach people on, you know, thinking, and, you know, because I tell people, look, if you don't want to think and you don't want to learn how to take control of your money, don't call me, because I'm not your guy, because it's your money, ain't my money. And so if you don't want to think, you just want to put your head in the sand and max out your 401k and not think about it. And, you know, we're okay, great. We're in the end of a business cycle, you know, all bubbles pop, right? And so you're just going to go through another loss and then hope the market goes up. I mean, last time I checked, hope is not a good strategy. So, you know, one of the things that happened with me, I started to get frustrated with that. And I wanted to know why things happen. Why do markets go up and down? That's, you know, that's not a natural phenomenon. They're market forces that cause that to happen. I wanted to know. And, you know, and I'm a reader. You know, somebody said, you want to have something from a black man, put it in a book. So I read all the time. You know, I read a good book a week. And because I wanted to know, and then, you know, I feel called to teach this stuff because, you know, one of the things that we talk about on the podcast is that stop looking for somebody else to save you, right? You got to save yourself. President, you know,
talk about that all the time.
Yeah, you know, you got to save yourself, you know? And so, which is understanding the game and learning how to play the game of capitalism, the game of finance, the game of self-determination. That's really what it's about. That's really what you know, my dad's favorite song was the James Brown song. I'm making my theme. I'm gonna do a workshop and then I'm gonna have that come out. Like, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door. I get it myself. That's really got to be our mantra.
Yep. Once we take control of our financial freedom, you know, one of my favorite sayings is like, you know, do something today that your future self will thank you for. So I always imagine for every financial move that I make, my future self is looking at me saying, is this what you want me to do? This is what you want me to be? So I always kind of like imagine that if I'm doing something financially, I'm doing it for my future lifestyle. Because like you said, it's a lifestyle war. This lifestyle and this one. Now, this one here is the part where you're supposed to grind. This one here is the part where you're supposed to relax, invest, and just sit back and relax. But if you ain't grinding here, managing your money, preparing, you're going to have I don't know about y'all, but I see a lot of old people working at Walmart and Sam's Club. And a lot of them, they don't want to be there.
And Social Security was not meant for you to live off of. It was supposed to be a supplement.
I think it's something for them to live off of.
And when they created Social Security, and FDR just pulled something out the hat and said, well, 65 is the retirement age. You know what most people's life expectancy was then? 62. So they expect you to be alive at 75, 85. So people are living longer, and there's more, you know, it's like for every working person, there was like, I'm probably getting it wrong, let's say 45 to 50 working people to support that one person. Now it's like 3 to 1. You know, so the math doesn't work. You know, we have a math problem. Okay. And that's the challenge out there, is that's the thing. Let me just show this one thing. I'm not gonna I want to show.
Well, somebody asked the question. They said, how did you do when the stock market crashed just before Obama came in office?
I did fine because I don't have any money in equities.
I knew you was gonna say that, but I wanted to.
That's what I mean. You and see, what could you do about that? Nothing, right? And see, what happens is, can you see my screen? Who does that, right? And so this is not like something I'm pulling out of a hat. You know, this is what. Here's who does this. What we're talking about with life insurance. Okay, y'all heard of these companies?
No.
Money for Disneyland. Guess where he got Disney got $75,000. He borrowed against his green tank. And so Sam's Club, Walmart, Macy's, Foster Farms, JCPenney, McDonald's, Comcast, you know, the Ben Bernanke, John McCain borrowed against his insurance to fund his presidential campaign.
That's what they all doing.
This is not new, guys. This is just new to us. Okay. And see, so I'm not saying, because see, they're separate. See, this is not investing. It's not an investing strategy. It's a saving strategy. Okay. This is a green tank. The yellow tank is the stock market. So even if you love your yellow tank, I was telling somebody yesterday, then see, because how do you get money out of the yellow tank? The only way to get money out of a mutual fund is to sell your shares. You have to liquidate the asset to turn it into cash. Well, if you're retired and let's say the market drops, that's now you've made a paper loss, a real loss, because you sold it, right? So if you have money in your green tank, now you can access money to buy your time and let the market go back up again. See, so they work together. You know, you want to buy Bitcoin, which I think one of my clients is, killing it, but with not Bitcoin, but with cryptos. But I would take a loan against my green tank funding account and then do what I'm going to do. And if I made a profit, then I'd pay myself back. So it's like playing blackjack. You want to take your winnings off the table, right? And see, so you can fund people that trade. You know, you can trade, or I've had people buy silver, take a loan, buy silver, pay themselves back. So now they got their silver and their gold, and they have their money back in their banking system. You know, there's just different ways to do it. So, you know, the thing is, how can you create security and access to capital in your life? And so I've given you bits and pieces of it. So there's a whole strategy we walk through. So don't think you got it. Oh, I'm going to go talk to my whoever about this. It's like there's a process that we walk people through, you know, on our site that you interview people. There's some homework that goes with that. And we have like a whole full blown webinar that we take people through to make sure that that they understand it, because I'm not comfortable working with people that don't. How many times have you read the book but by the time we start talking? At least twice.
Yeah, but I read, okay, so before we even started talking, I read the book about 1.5 times. So I was like, when I talked to you, I was at the middle of the book for the second time because I wanted to get through it, but then I wanted to turn to like a study guide because there's some things I didn't understand, and I wanted to
go back through it. Here's how this worked. Go to page 54, and
yeah,
that's why I use books, because I want to be able to have a reference point so that we can talk about it. So I have about 3, but I use this one. I know the author. I was just at a conference of people that specialize in this in Birmingham, where the author's from, also Nash. I use another book called Money for Life. And you see, this was just as worn out as the other one. Okay. And I know this author too. And I've had him on the show a couple of times. And these are like my 2 favorite books there's about 20, but these are my 2 favorite books on it. I have another one by my mentor, Kim Butler, called Live Your Life Insurance. And so, in fact, if you email me, I'll send. I have the PDF of that. Email me at kurtman@gmail.com if you're really interested. I'll send you that one in a report. But also, I gave you also you can text.
Oh, I put it right. I put it right in the description. Yep.
And,
I put it right in the description where the text so they can get with you.
Yeah. So I feel like we're talking too much. It's
No, it's just, listen, they still here. They comment. They've been commenting the whole time.
Okay.
They still listening. Like they listening. They locked. They listening because they know.
I do this all day. So, but I don't want to. You can't wear out your welcome. But
we can wrap it up in about 5. But pretty much when it comes, we can just chop it up. But when it comes down to it, these are things that people need to hear. But I can understand how the conversation is uncomfortable, but it has to be had in order to grow. In order to grow for anything, you got to be uncomfortable. Discomfort is always about, you're going to have to grow. And this is a big part of it. And with our finances, I don't know about you, but I want to be first generational wealth,
Yeah.
So in order to be that, like people run around complaining, talking about they doing this to me, they doing that to me, they robbing me here. Like, okay, then do this. And so they don't rob you. You can have your money. You can have your own bank, and you can loan people money, and you can be a bank. Even you live in America. So play the game of America. This is how it works. And Curtis is here to teach y'all the game of America, how it works. If y'all not understanding, okay, I'll see you in 30 years. And then when you ask me for Curtis, I'll send you to Curtis. But by that time, you've wasted 30 years because you didn't want to listen.
That you can't get back. Because it's hard to win a game when you don't know the rules. And a lot of times we either play by the wrong rules or we don't know the rules at all.
Yep.
And I was talking to the kids about, because people say, well, I have people like Trump, for example. We'll talk about. I have an accountant for mine. She won't even say his name. She'll say 45. And but I use it as a lesson. I say, well, listen, our tax system. You say, well, I don't pay taxes, and during debate with Clinton, and I'm politically agnostic. I understand the game. I'm looking, for the, how does the game work so I can win? I don't care who's in office. Curtis is going to make money. Okay. And so, and my people, my clients, our tribe, I'm going to help them understand the world as it is, right? And so I was with at a conference last year with Tom Wheelwright, who's Robert Kiyosaki's accountant. He has a great book called Tax Free Wealth. He said, listen, there's 2 tax codes, one for wage earners, one for business people. So you're no one in wealth transfer taxes. And so if you're not in business, I don't care if you're doing Mary Kay or affiliate marketing, real estate, you've got to have a business. And so once you have a business, that puts you on the business owner side of the tax code, where you can make your life a walking tax deduction so you can keep more money in your pocket so that you can save it, right? And
I know.
You know what I mean? And, like, for example, here's the easy one where I find most, according to the IRS, 8 out of every 10 people have their W-4 filled out wrong.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
You know, so, and that's the form that tells your employer how much to withhold. You should review it a year. Most people haven't reviewed it in 10 years. How do you know it's wrong? You get a refund. Hear me, okay? You get a refund. If you got a refund, means your money again. And so because you're taking it, see, look at your tax return and it says, here's how much you overpaid. Refund. Taxes owed, taxes paid, refund, right? And you overpaid by this much. Well, how much interest did you get on that money? None. All right. And so you gave up control of it. One time I had a client, I was like, I'm looking at him like, why are you this guy making, $8,000 a month and he's spending $8,300 a month. And I'm looking at, why are you so broke? And I'm going through my mind, mortgage, taxes, Then I look at his paycheck stub and I'm looking at this high gross number and this low net number. I was like, wait, did you get a tax refund? He goes, yeah. So how much? $12,000.
Dang.
I almost fell out. I was like, 12. I was like, are you crazy? And he had an extra $20 take. I said, are you crazy? And so I talked to my clients like this. We knew each other. So I don't just beat you up, but we friends. So I'm going to tell you like you need to hear it. I'm not, aren't we one? I ain't say, I'm not a salesperson where I'm going to talk you into stuff. I'm going to show you how stuff works. Okay. You can do what you want to do. All right.
You're on the right channel for that. That's how I talk to my people.
Yeah. So I encourage that. But so the thing is, I said, well, all right, listen. I said, look, and I made them do it. You can go to irs.gov. You can, I show people how to I'll give them a video on a sample W-4, but I'll make you fill it out. It's your money, right? Mm-hmm. But through the workbook, just go through find I'll email you one, the 2018 or 19 W-4 and just go through the workbook. You think, well, I'm head of household. I got 2 kids. So you put 3. I just had a client do that. I said, let's go through the workbook. She needed 9 because she called. And so now what happens is if you go through that, this person, I said, look, how about you I don't give tax advice, first of all. So talk to your tax person. Curtis is not an accountant, but just go through the workbook. But what happens is I said, well, look, how about I won't kill all your joy. How about you only get $2,000 or $3,000 back, right? Out of the 12. So if you get back 2, he was getting back 12. So that means if you took 10 and divided by 12, what's that? $800 a month. That's $400 a pay. Just like that. And so they had overdraft protections. They weren't saving money. They had credit card debt because their cash flow was so impacted. All you do is you get a refund. You give up, use your money all year long. As soon as you get your refund back, what do? You spend it. You give it away. How are you going to get ahead like that? That's the pattern. So we got to stop acting like poor people.
That's right. Oh yeah, put the screen share down too, because I can't really see it. Yeah.
Oh, I thought I meant to stop sharing. Hold it.
Here we go. Good.
Okay. Yeah. So I thought I stopped. So you know what I mean? It's just little stuff like that. You just got to learn. You just got to pay attention, and we want people to be in control. So I always am trying to send people videos, breaking little lessons down, so that you start to stack all this stuff up, and you because here's the thing. If you don't know it, you can't teach it to your kids.
That's right.
Right. I'll have my daughter. I said, listen, I had her at a workshop helping the back table. I said, well, Jade, what's the first rule in Rich Dad Poor Dad? And she'll yell from the back, rich people don't work for money. Money works for them. All right, stand up and wave. Come here. Yeah. Come here. You trying to, come here. Charger. Jay has a charger. My 7-year-old's in the room looking for a charger. Just wave. No, come here. No, this way. This way. No, this way. Say hi. This is Natalie. Hello. All right. Time for bedtime. What time is it? All right. So,
something you always say about money too. You say what is that little saying you say about money? You says something about knowing about money. What was that thing you say about knowing about money? You say this all the time. I forgot though. Terrible. You should know it. Oh man, somebody we working. I forget somebody working for money, but we don't know anything about money. Like
So we go to work for money.
Yeah.
Since to know how money works.
Yeah, there we go.
Like that,
Yeah, that's it. I like that saying.
If one of us talking, somebody has to listen. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
So yeah, all kinds of crazy stuff come out of my mouth if we start talking long enough. But it's just, we gotta, because if we don't teach it, we're just teaching what, go to school, get education, get a good job. You don't own your job, and we're sending them out, coming out as indentured servants, with the student loan debt, and just, we're taught to be slaves to the system. You have to buck that. You have to I just finished a book called Unscripted, the script: go to school, get your education, get a good job, get a diversified portfolio of mutual funds. That's the script taught by the quote unquote powers that be. So I want to give you a new script so you start learning how to do what they do with money. And because success, leaves clues. Okay. And so you can follow those clues and, look at Buffett. Buffett max out his 401k? No. Does he trade stocks? No. He buys the whole damn company. He owns that. Okay. Berkshire Hathaway buys a company, or they buy enough to control it, not just hope the market goes up. So they make markets happen. And so we all do that in our little personal economy. So that's kind of my message, guys, is just think, read, and learn and teach it. So if you want to get good at something, you got to practice, study, and teach. So one of the things that we encourage our families is to get the rich dad game, the cash flow game, and play it. Play it with your kids. Play with your kids' friends. I have this guy said, listen, your daughters, and he says before that game, if they brought a boy home, the father would make him play cash flow with them, so you could get a feel for what was going on in his head. So I think that's better than the Bad Boys test for, when he brought the date home in Bad Boys 2, which I like that way.
Yeah, that was funny. His name was Reggie too.
Right. I'm not going back to prison. All right. So the, because I've been there. I was like, oh, I have 3 daughters, so I think about this crap all the time. So so that is, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So we should let these good people go to bed or something. So
absolutely. So we're gonna wrap it up. But listen, everybody, if y'all need to reach out to Curtis May, you can text intensity to 26786 to get to Curtis May. All right. Tell him he's gonna put you on a game, he's gonna educate you. The things you're gonna learn are gonna be new, but they're gonna save your life, because it sucks to be an old broke person and you can't even work like you used to. So you can't even hustle because your body ain't. Listen, do it while you can do it now. I'm telling y'all right now. So listen, we're gonna get up out of here tonight. We hope y'all learn something from this video. We hope that you really will use it. You will read that book. I really want y'all to read that book before you even try to reach out to him, because it's called The Infinite Banker.
Becoming your own banker.
Becoming your own banker.
You can reach out to me, because I have a little report called, a little like pre-report that'll get you to
show them the book again, because I just moved, so it's in the other room. So yeah, boom, there it is. Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash. All right.
So my other favorite book is Money for Life: How to Thrive in Good Times and Bad.
There you go, right there. So
those are our textbooks, and so I teach. It's a system. And it's basically a cash flow management system. So, you've got to manage the money that comes in and goes out of your life. And if you don't control that, somebody will always control you.
You don't want that. You always want to be a controller. So besides that, we're going to get up out of here. You want to close with anything, Curtis?
Folks, it's just, listen, it's time. We have to it says in the Bible, a wise man leaves an inheritance for the children's children. And so it's time out for us, every generation starting out broke, so we have the power to build multi-generational wealth and, really live a great life, and then pass that on to, our children. And that's what it's all about. And that's our mission is to create, my mission is to create 1 million financially independent African-American families.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So y'all, we're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all sitting in. We love y'all. We're going to see y'all soon. If y'all want to text Curtis, all right, you can text intensity, IN number 10 SITY, it's in the description, to 2786. All right. You can get Curtis, book conversation with him, talk to him.
Right. And also check out the podcast. We have a podcast called The Practical Wealth Show.
Talk about that, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we did The Practical Wealth Show on iTunes, on YouTube, on wherever you listen to podcasts at, so Stitcher, we're on that. And really it's every week, every now and then I have a Curtis rant, and but every week I'm interviewing people about on money, and trying to distill lessons. We talk about the 4 asset class. So it's kind of, the theme is wealth outside of Wall Street. So if you want to learn how to other ways to skin a cat instead of tying your money up for 30 years, then the Practical Wealth Show is for you.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. And I binge watch this show because he brings so many people on here that talk about so many things to help your mindset change. Like this one guy he brought on here, and this guy was giving info for all kinds. I was writing it down. And didn't they take that one down? Because he was giving so much info?
Yeah, and I got him to put it back up. But yeah.
Good. Yeah, you know how YouTube does.
Right.
But he
had so many links. He was just dropping science. Boom, boom, boom. They're like, wait, too many links. But he was, he was just giving it here. You tell about something, you give a link, go here. So that's what I want. I want information. The show is, informational. It's a very educational show. And look, when I'm interviewing, hell, I got 2-3 pages of notes. I said, well, look, y'all can mess around if you want to. Curtis got 3 pages of note here. So it's like an excuse for me to meet and interview great people. so I can learn. I'm a student.
Absolutely. Forever a student. That's the best thing to be, All right, y'all. So we're going to get up out of here. This is Coach Reg, a.k.a. Mr. Intensity, and my job is to invoke thought and help awaken the world's consciousness one person at a time. I know that person will be you.